Divorce happens. In fact, it happens to almost 50% of first marriages. So let's talk about it. Welcome to Divorce Happens, a podcast to educate, inspire, support, and yes, make you laugh through divorce and beyond so that you can start fresh on the next phase of your journey. Remember, divorce happens, and then we start fresh.
You get divorced. You get divorced.
Getting divorced?
I'm getting a divorce.
You're getting a divorce.
Because she's getting a divorce.
So what if I get divorced?
Hey, it's Olivia. Welcome back to Divorce Happens. This week's letter is such a practical in the trenches question, and I know a lot of you have mediation coming up. So let's get to the letter. Hey, Olivia. I have mediation coming up in a couple of weeks, and honestly, I need all the tips I can get. My ex is so against me that he pushes back on almost anything I suggest, just on principle. We've had temporary orders in place for over a year. I've been the one in the marital home with our kids, and now he wants to push to sell it, even though our kids have been established in these schools since kindergarten. How do I actually prepare for mediation with someone who seems to be against me more than he's for anything specific? Okay, first thing I want to say is that mediation with someone who opposes almost everything on principle is a genuinely different game than court, and I think it helps enormously to walk in understanding that difference. You are not trying to persuade him of anything. That's the trap a lot of people fall into, trying to win the argument in the room. Your actual job is to build a proposal that looks obviously reasonable to a mediator, even if he rejects it right there in front of you. That shifts everything about how you prepare. Let's start with the house, since that's clearly the biggest piece here. I want you to lead with your kids' stability as the frame, not as something you argue and re-argue. Something like, this proposal keeps the kids in the school they've been in since kindergarten, which is the least disruptive option regardless of the other terms. Say that once, plainly and calmly. Don't defend it every single time it gets pushed back on. Repetition without escalation is honestly more powerful in these rooms than a strong rebuttal ever is. And here's something important. If he wants to sell the house, I want to stay isn't actually a negotiating position. It's just a wall, and walls don't move a mediation forward. I want you to come in with an actual mechanism instead. A buyout where you refinance and pay him his share of the equity directly. A deferred sale tied to something concrete, like the kids finishing a particular school level or a specific calendar year. Whatever structure makes sense for your finances, the point is giving the mediator something real and specific to work with, instead of just a flat no that goes nowhere. Here's a tool I want to give you for the moments when he's opposing things that seem to have nothing to do with logic. Try separating his positions from his actual interests. When he pushes back reflexively, you can ask calmly right there in the room, what's the concern behind that? Sometimes what looks like pure opposition on the surface is actually masking something else entirely. Money worries, not wanting to feel like the one who lost. Some need to feel like he still has control over something in his life. You don't have to believe he's negotiating in good faith to still find the actual interest underneath and address that directly. Sometimes that moves things in a way that arguing the surface position never will. Now, I want you to prepare for something specific. Expect him to provoke you. I know ahead of time that you don't have to take the bait when it shows up in the room. If he's like this outside mediation too, some version of that same energy is probably going to come in the room with him. The move here is the same one that works anywhere else with a provoking communication style. Don't defend yourself, don't explain, don't get pulled into relitigating old history from your marriage. Redirect every single time back to your concrete proposal. I hear that. Here's what I'm proposing for the house. Boring and repetitive is genuinely your best friend in this specific situation. Before you walk in, I want you to know your floor. Sit down beforehand, separately from the emotional intensity of the actual room, and figure out the real minimum you need on the big issues and what you're actually willing to trade to get there. Write it down. When things get heated in the moment, and they might, you want an actual piece of paper in front of you to look at, not just your gut reacting in real time. I also want to encourage you to loop your attorney in on strategy specifically, not just the eventual outcome. Have a real conversation before the day itself about what leverage you'd actually have if mediation doesn't resolve things and this moves toward court. I want to be honest with you. I can't speak to the specifics of that because it varies enormously depending on where you live and the details of your case. But that's exactly the kind of question your attorney is positioned to answer clearly. And having that answer ahead of time changes how much you feel your need to compromise in the room on the day itself. And lastly, protect your own nervous system going into this. Eat something beforehand. Bring water. And remember that "can we take 5 minutes" is always available to you if you feel yourself getting pulled into a reactive spiral in the moment. That's a completely normal, reasonable thing to use. And nobody in that room will think less of you for needing it. If you want more support heading into this, we're right here. A free consult with me, a vetted attorney or mediator, and free guides whenever you need them. Okay, that's it from me today. Just remember, you are so much further along than you think, and I'll see you next time. Divorce Happens is produced by Fresh Starts Registry, the only divorce registry platform for everything you need to begin again, including home items, hype team, and everything in between. Remember, divorce happens, and then we start fresh. We're here to support you before, during, and after divorce. Head to freshstartsregistry.com for more info.